All right, Brad.
Underwood. Thin ice!
So I can't knock down a triple here. Woo, okay. Didn't even miss a shot this entire time, so take that. This better be good for the team.
Oh,
I thought for sure.
there it is. Boom! Yes!
All right. What episode is this?
255, I think.
5. I was watching our 3-point video real quick. Illini Basketball Podcast, episode 255, February 24th, 2025. Illinois, quick turnaround. They play tomorrow night against Iowa. I don't know how much there is to say about the game on Saturday night from Madison Square Garden.
Abysmal. Bad.
Duke scored enough for both teams.
Yeah, they could have gave us a few of those. Maybe we need that 5-2 guy to come in for Illinois.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think Duke had their starters out, and when it was 90 to whatever it was, Illinois had. So their bench and their reserve scored 20 on this team. So that kind of puts it in full retrospect of maybe how bad this defense is, maybe how good Duke really is. I don't know. But it's just bad. 0 for 16 in the first half, end up 2 for 26 for a whopping 7.7% from three. Can't do that kind of stuff, especially against Duke. I don't even know. I think it's the whole team. I don't think that it's one guy. I mean, Hummer, absolutely awful, terrible game. I will say it. You guys don't have to think that I'm going to defend him on 0 for 5 shooting with 1 rebound, 1 assist, and a turnover for 0 points. Can't do it. Can't do it as a starter. You can't do it in a big game like this. But defensively, this team is absolutely lost. I think everybody's learned that you do those, pin down screens, you'll get wide open shots, you'll get going to the basket, and Illinois doesn't know how to defend it right now. So, yeah, the most humiliating part, I can't speak, MSG experience was Booger from Revenge of the Nerds with the dagger 3.
I think something that might get a little overshadowed in this game is like KJ. You want to see him make a 3 or 2 when he shoots 4 of them, but he had a pretty good game. I mean, 14, 7, and 6, 2 blocks of steal, only 2 turnovers, but it's not enough to even be close in this game. But I thought him and Trey White were the 2 starters who I thought brought it more than others. Tomislav defensively just atrocious in this game, which, I mean, it's understandable. He's probably playing at 60%. It's not a good matchup for him with that length. He's really the only really big, lengthy guy that Illinois plays outside of Kerry Booth, who is clearly unplayable. And it's a tough spot for him. Trey White, though, I thought had a good game if you consider the expectations going in.
Yeah.
16 and 5 on 6 of 9 shooting. Some garbage time stuff, though. They didn't turn the ball over very much, but they also went 2 for 26 from 3 and missed 9 free throws and then let Duke kill them in every way, shooting 52% from 3 and it was 44-30 on the glass, and Duke had 28 assists in this game.
Yeah. Duke, it was like they could get whatever they want. I would say that a bright spot also defensively was Boswell on flag. I thought that he did well on him. Poked away 3 or 4 balls out of his hands, especially, the size advantage there. I thought they held Cooper Flagg to a pretty minimal game, especially in the first half. He got going on a couple breakaways off some steals, and stuff like that. But I thought they did a decent job with him. But I mean, they had 7 guys scoring double figures, and the team, they just look lost. And I don't know what fixes that. People say that's Brad's fault. Brad doesn't shoot 0 for 16 from the field, though. And you guys are going to hate it. He said to keep shooting them. He did have some BS excuse. If they shot 31% in the first half, they were only down 2. Well, you lost by 58 points. So biggest loss in team history in this one. Again, Brad blames continuity, practice, fluidity, but no excuses for not making shots. Somebody asked him about Kerry Booth because Kerry Booth looked really good in the pregame, and Brad kind of snapped and said, please don't ever judge a kid off pregame. I can go make open shots. So, yeah, at least the practices are good. DGL back-to-back good practices for him. So DGL played 17 minutes, 4 for 9 with 8 points. So DGL, I mean, didn't really get a whole lot. I mean, 17 minutes, I think, seems low for having back-to-back best practices of the year. So, I don't know. This team is an absolute mess right now. And I don't know where they go from here. Hopefully Iowa can be a game where they kind of get things back together. Like I said, coming off short rest, got to fly back from New York. Guessing that they're going to have one practice. Maybe they practice today. I'm sure they'll do like run throughs tomorrow and stuff, but
yep,
it'll be hard to bounce back quickly. So
they need to do to Iowa what Maryland did, which is score 100 on them and win by 26. That would be good.
Yeah. Which I mean, that's Iowa doesn't play defense, so Illinois could definitely put up some points against them. I thought it was weird that Brad said that Cooper Flagg needs to stay in college and go have fun and chase a girl, and that he could make more money in college than the NBA. Like, Brad realizes he's going to be the number 1 pick, right? He's not.
I think Brad was a mess, probably, when he's talking about this.
He was. I only listened to like the first 7-8 minutes of it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's much more to say about this game. I mean, everybody was semi bad. Defense was awful. Couldn't shoot. Couldn't rebound.
All four of the 5 starters in double figures, though. How about that?
Yeah, that's a positive.
And then the 5th one laid an egg, but that's all right. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of even judge the performance of the Illinois offense outside of the 3-point shooting, because they started the game, I believe they were 9 of 12 from 2. But if you're 9 of 12 from 2 and you're down 20, you kind of just start to be like, all right, well, we got to make some threes. And then you end up 2 for 26 from 3. So it becomes a little weird.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I know people are like, oh, you got to stop shooting threes. You got to stop, doing whatever. But like, you're down 24, 27 at half. Like, Illinois wasn't winning this game by making more twos. Like, I don't see that. Like, you got to make shots in this team. I don't know if it's a confidence factor or what's going on right now. Like, I know you guys think that like all these guys are terrible shooters, but like all their percentages are down like 10% from last year. And most of these guys played, solid D1 competition or played overseas against professionals. So Hummerkaus would be the only one that you could say played terrible competition. He's out of his element playing in the Big Ten. So
clearly is at this point. Offensively, he just can't. He's not there.
Offensively, yeah, I don't know what's going on with him.
And defensively, I get that people rag on him, but I think that's been the best part of his game for the last month. at this point. I mean, he had a decent he had a good shooting game, at least from 3 against Wisconsin, but offensively it's just not there. And for him to be, I get that everybody's been bad from 3, but he can't be, and he's 3 for 17 in the last 3 games. He's shooting 33% now, and then you look at a guy like Luke Goody who's shooting 44% in Big Ten players. I think it's unfortunate, but that's the way people are probably going to look at it, and I don't think that's completely unfair. But obviously, a lot of guys had to be better in this game. But it stands out that he had 0 points in 22 minutes. I think.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Especially when Trey White is the leading scorer in the game.
Yeah, you can't have that from a guy starting. But I mean, in the same aspect, Will Riley had 7 and DGL had 8 off the bench, and nobody else scored off the bench. So
nobody else really played outside of Jake Davis.
Yeah, but just saying, like, it's not like there were a ton of points sitting on the bench.
I think Will Riley has. I mean, to be fair, though, Will Riley did have 7 points in the same amount of minutes.
Yeah, he did.
And he had 5 rebounds. I like that stat. I just think this game comes down to Illinois' defense might be broken, especially if Visich is going to be like this. And Duke's offense was really, really good, and their defense was good.
Yeah, and not only is their defense broken, their offense is it's got a problem. Warner tweeted out today, since January 11th, Illinois shooting 26% from 3, which is 363rd out of 364 teams. Yet Illinois is number 43 on 3 points taken, 45.3% of the shots. That's troubling.
It's been that way for a while.
Yeah, definitely is.
Nothing we can do about it from here,
Yeah, I mean, all we can do is, go shoot threes in the backyard and see if we can do it better. So, but Brad said anybody can make those. He apparently doesn't know the wind's blowing in the backyard, though.
Yeah, that's basically defense right there.
Exactly. Quick question: what is a typical NIL deal looking like? Is it safe to say most are making 6 figures? I don't really know. It's out there somewhere, I'm sure. I would say
not good enough data to really.
Yeah, I would say starters may be making that kind of money, but I don't know.
I don't think the 5 foot. I guess he's listed at 5'8". The guy who came in. I don't think he's making 6 figures.
I don't think he's making anything.
He's shooting 66% from 3 this year. 2 for 3.
Sign him up, Brad. Use him next year.
This is how embarrassing Illinois was in this game. He comes in and makes a 3 when they beat Army by 32 and 42. And then Illinois messes around and loses to them by more than Army lost them. And he made a 3 and had a rebound. Like, what a joke. What an embarrassing game.
Yeah. And people, Brad's being questioned. Tyler Underwood's being questioned. Hamer's being questioned since he's the one that scouts teams. I don't want to make excuses, but yeah, the sickness and that stuff and, being able to practice together makes a difference. But they were also just kind of, Chester Frazier leaving. It's not like they didn't try to go after guys that have been in college, sometimes you're just left with what's out there and who wants to come. So it sounds like Brad's still going to keep going for overseas guys. So we're not going to see a switch in that, but
the overseas guys overall have been the 2 best players in the team. So
absolutely.
I don't know why anybody would question that bullshit. And secondly,
I think they're questioning Trey White, Kylan Boswell.
Okay. Let's question. Yeah. I hope they question Trey White and Kylan Boswell, the 2 guys who people wanted the most. Okay. That's just dumb. Low level of intelligence within the Illini community at times. But I don't think the last 2 games are something you could point to as like, oh, the scout was bad or, Illinois did this wrong. Like if you look at the last 2 games, I think the last game that you can point to, the last game that can be pointed to in terms of, Illinois didn't scout properly, or they did this wrong, or they had this plan that was wrong. Michigan State game is the one you point to. I don't think you point to Wisconsin. You had illness and injury, and Wisconsin played really well in that game. You got killed on the road. That's expected. This game, there's nothing that Illinois could have done outside of making more threes. Like if they make 6 of 26 threes, they lose by 31. Like what do people want? This is not the game to question that stuff. And also the whole European thing is just stupid. Like I understand
the defense is the biggest thing right now. I mean, you've lost 3 games in a row by double figures or more.
I think you're missing Merez a lot. Like I know Duke made 12 of 23 threes, but I thought Boswell had a hell of a game defensively. KJ had a steal. I thought he was good. Hummer, you're asking him to do a lot, which we can't keep making that excuse though either. We can't keep saying, oh, it's a bad matchup for Hummer. Like it just, at some point you got to be like, all right, well, they either need to stop sticking him in those spots or he's got to be a little bit better. But I thought he wasn't, give up 110 points is a lot of problems. But I think Ivasic not being able to carry the load right now with the ankle and being sick twice this year, probably playing at 60 to 65%. I think that's the biggest problem right now. And you have nothing else to stick in there. Like your other option is Hummer at the 5 or Booth at the 5, and that's just not a winning formula at all. Like you can get away with that against Iowa, and they might, but I don't know what they're going to do against Michigan. I mean, you're going to be asking a lot from Hummer and Ivasic against Michigan on the road. And Illinois has put themselves in a tough position. I mean, luckily for them, they have some other big wins early in the season. They have good metrics, and their net ranking is not terrible to the point where they'll still be a tournament team. I think it would be very surprising. I think a lot of unforeseen things would have to happen for them to not make the tournament. You go back to they beat Arkansas, who is going to make the tournament. I know they're not very good, but they beat them. They beat Wisconsin. They beat Missouri. They beat Oregon, obviously. And they beat UCLA. I mean, those are really the wins you point to. And I know a lot of people are like, well, this team's not even going to make the tournament. I just don't think that that's possible. I still see some of the best bracketologists over the last 5 years having Illinois on the 7 line still. So I just think that it would take a lot. Like even if they lose out, the furthest they drop is what, 10?
Yeah.
10 seed probably. It's just not. I understand that it'd be tough given that if they do lose out, they're 17 and 15, but I still think they put them in. And Arkansas, Arkansas they're an SEC team, so you could be 5-9 in the SEC and still get in. And they also have a pretty favorable schedule to finish. They got Texas and Mississippi State are home games, and on the road at South Carolina and Vanderbilt. They win 3 of those 4. They're going to get in. They got a Missouri win. They have a Michigan win, and they have a Kentucky win. So Arkansas is going to get in. Ty did not screw us. What's Ty going to do right now? Like his defense was not that great last year, if people remember. I thought he took a step back defensively last year, and all of a sudden he's going to be able to shoot. I mean, he'll probably try.
On this team, I don't think it really matters.
What's he going to shoot though? Mid-range jumpers? Like we don't want that.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I don't know why everything has to come back to they did this wrong in the offseason or they did that wrong. Like it's just not. Can we just face what's in front of us and understand the issues with this team? Like I don't know why.
Excited when Illinois
does this.
When Illinois beats Iowa tomorrow night, that Brad's going to get us to the tournament 5 years in a row.
If they lose the game tomorrow, though, that's because they got no shot against Michigan unless Hummer and Ivasic have the game of their lives.
Yeah.
Like things are definitely bleak. The fact they only have 17 wins right now is maybe the most disappointing part. Like they had 12 wins after they beat Penn State on January 8th. And now they have 17. So they're 5-9 since that with some brutal losses. Looking back, you got to win that USC game. You got to beat Nebraska or Rutgers. Their last 3 wins, you could obviously get away with. Those are top 10 metric teams. One of them, people say, is the best team in the country, which I think Duke probably is the best team in the country. I know Auburn has kind of earned the title, but I just think ceiling, nobody's got a higher ceiling than Duke. Like, they have so many guys. For Flag to have 16, 5, and 7 and not be that effective overall and for them to win by 43, that's pretty much all you need to know right there.
Yep.
And one team looked ready to play early and the other team did not. And of course, Illinois is on the losing end of that, as they have been in many big games.
Yep.
So I don't know if anybody else in the chat wants to throw their stupid thoughts at us. I like the fan base reaction thing is always unbelievable to me, but like now it's better than ever.
It's like they've never been through like hard times as an Illinois fan. Like I saw a post today, like I think it's that Snyder guy that you quote tweet sometimes. It was like Io, Trent, and Curbelo, and it's like we really didn't know what we really had at the time or something. And it's like
a team that lost in the second round is a 1 seed.
Yeah. Like I just don't know anymore.
To an inferior in-state school.
Joe said he's sorry. He's just excuse hunting. That's fine. I don't know. I like they got to come out and play better. I mean, that's literally the only thing. They have to play better basketball, and I think that this team can. We've seen it in games, so it's just getting back to doing what they do good. So they're all ready to jump off a ledge. Yeah, it's embarrassing. Did you see Painter's stuff going around about fan bases on Twitter aren't real fan bases?
Who?
Matt Painter. He coaches for Purdue.
Purdue, who got their faces kicked in yesterday?
Yeah, he was actually talking about Woodson, which was weird because it seemed like he was actually talking about himself and the Purdue fan base being mad at the team. But he's talking
Purdue
about
fan base should not be surprised that they're struggling when their guards are so tiny.
Yeah, and I think that they kind of, they surprised people that, everybody's like, this was supposed to be a rebuilding year. That's the thing is you get the people that think that you win a few games and nobody can touch you, and then you lose 4 in a row, and it's like, the sky's falling.
They did start 11-2 in conference play too. Like they are good.
Yeah.
It's just right now they are struggling. Yesterday's probably the lowest they're going to get. I think they probably win both of their next 2 games going into Illinois to end the year, but that was a rough. I mean, Indiana was beating the shit out of them in the second half, 28-3 in the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's possible, especially against Indiana.
They just don't have enough weapons.
TKR was terrible, and he fouled out.
Yeah,
like he was really bad. And Braden Smith went 2 for 8 and had 6 turnovers. And Lawyer had a good game, but that was it.
Leal and Rice put.
And Leal should be kicked out of basketball.
Assault.
That's very bizarre to do that, though.
The crazy thing about that game was that play that they decided wasn't, intentional. It looked intentional as hell. And then TKR got called for the elbow to the face was a flagrant one, where that literally just happened in the Houston Iowa State game, and he was so much farther away than in whoever was on TKR, Galloway maybe, and they didn't call cylinder or anything. Like it's just like the continuity across college basketball refereeing is so weird.
Remember when
but it was high knees, so what do we expect?
Yeah. Remember when McGee got kicked out of the game against Purdue last week for running through a screen?
Running through a screen. Who got kicked out for throwing a pass and his leg came up and hit somebody in the nuts? That happened this year too.
I don't know, but it's kind of insane that.
But that was probably the most intentional kick to the nuts all season, and they didn't call it. So,
yeah.
Anyways, get better, Illinois. Let's go beat Iowa.
I don't know if you saw the Werner piece that came out about. He was talking to Jonathan Givony from ESPN NBA Draft.
About the draft, yeah.
Illini fans they're so annoying with this shit.
They don't understand what the NBA drafts on. It's insane.
Not even that. They're also discounting how good of a season Kaspers has had for an 18-year-old guard.
True.
It's so goddamn stupid.
True.
So I guess he thinks that KJ's been crushing it and Will Riley has huge upside. And then this person retweeted this and said, neither one of these kids have done enough to warrant anything close to this type of coverage. Rick Wiley is a fucking loser, by the way. I retweeted Werner saying, insight from one of the preeminent and most well-connected NBA draft experts seemed like it could be valuable information for fans. You're angry with your team. I get it. We have plenty of coverage on the issues. If you don't deem this piece valuable, don't read it. I don't understand how some folks can't understand that you can be a lottery pick and play on an underachieving team. It happened to Coach Cal's Kentucky teams like every other year. Also, the other part of that is there's a bunch of guys in the last 15 years who have been number one picks and didn't play in the tournament.
Yeah.
So whatever. Nothing. We can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Nothing you haven't been preaching for 4 weeks.
Kasparis is going to be a top 5 pick still, guaranteed. Lock.
I think he drops to 7.
Nope. 5. Okay. 4 or 5. One of the two. 0 doubt. 0. All right. Let's talk about Iowa. Illinois, Iowa tomorrow night. 8 o'clock, not 7. God forbid. 8 o'clock on FS1. Illinois is 17-11, 9-8 in the Big Ten. Are they 17-11 or 17-12? 11, okay. Iowa is 15-12, 6-10 in the Big Ten. 8 o'clock, like I said, tomorrow, FS1. We will be doing a watch party against my will. That's all right, though. You know, you got to do what you got to do.
I'm doing it for you guys, so you better show up.
That's enough, Tim. I got you. Hey, how you doing? All right.
Tell the guy hi. Jeez.
I just did. A good photo of Larry Bird there, one of the great players of all time, completely underrated by the new generation of losers who know nothing about basketball. The NBA doesn't care about turnovers. They just see potential for fit and need. But also, like, that is true, but we can also sit here and say Kaspar's had a really good year for an 18-year-old guard, and just because he hasn't been elite in the last month or so doesn't take away from a lot of the stuff we've seen this year. So I think it's unfair to do that. Iowa is 175th in the country in defensive efficiency. Illinois' offense is still top 20. Their defense has dropped to 40. Not a surprise, but Iowa's offense also top 25, 24th. A big part of this game, I guess, will be the fact that Iowa shoots 38% from deep. Both teams have been really good inside the perimeter this year. Iowa shoots at 57.3% from 2. Illinois, 57.1. Illinois, a much better free throw shooting team than Iowa. Iowa, 241st in the country in three-point free throw shooting. Illinois is bigger. Both teams don't have great experience, but Iowa has more than Illinois. They got more returning guys. A little more continuity. They have Owen Freeman out for the year, by the way. That's a big loss for them. But they still run a lineup of with Sanford, who's a potential NBA guy eventually. They beat Washington on Saturday. That was at Iowa. They won 85-79. They had Peyton Sanford had 27, 9, and 2 in that game. They have Josh Dix still starting. Drew Thelwell. Sadhu Traore played 3 minutes and started. And then Ladji Dembele. This is just not a good Iowa team. It's not an Iowa team that Illinois should have any struggles with. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow, Tim. It's just not a team that Illinois should struggle with. I understand that this version of Illinois might struggle with them, but overall, they're not a good rebounding team either. Like, they are 315th in the country in offensive rebound percentage, and preventing offensive rebounds, they're 300th in the percentage. So I know that Illinois doesn't have Merez Johnson, but this is where Trey White and Humrickhouse and those guys need to get rebounds. Yeah. And Illinois just gotta block out the noise and just play good basketball for 40 minutes and just put a win on the board. That'll shut up the people who are like, this team's not going to make the tournament. It would go a long way to do that and not finish the year with 7 straight losses.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good at all. But yeah, this Iowa team, they're not there. Their center's out for the season. It should be a game they can dominate, but you got to keep Iowa's shooters off the 3-point line. You know that they're going to try to get guys open knock down threes, especially Sanford and Dix and other Sanford, because why wouldn't you have brothers on your team at Iowa? Because that's just what they do. So, yeah, Illinois should win this, but we'll see.
Players to watch. Go.
I am going with Kylan. I like to burn Sage Boswell.
Ruin the season, yes.
And Josh Dix. Boswell, Brad said that he's going to have to start taking this team over, be a leader. He's been in college basketball for 3 years now. He's got to step up. Hopefully he can knock down some shots, because he's putting up 5 threes a game. It is what it is at this point. Just don't go over, and then play really good defense on the little guys that like to shoot a lot, which would be Josh Dix. Peyton Sanford likes to shoot a lot also. Josh Dix, I think he's shooting at like 43% from 3 or something this year. So you got to stop the little white guards at Iowa and the big white guards.
Yep. I'm going DGL for Illinois. He needs to have a good game both ends. He's got to be another guy who guards the perimeter well. They got a bunch of guys who shoot 37 to 42% from 3. And then for Iowa, I'm going Drew Thelwell. Averages fewer than 10 a game, but shoots 40% from 3. So that'll be something to do in this game, which is why I think Iowa does reach the 80-point mark. I know that you do not, but I'm taking Illinois 87-80.
Yeah, I think Illinois is going to get to 90 points in this game. Again, Iowa's defense is just – it's not there. It's not good. I'm hoping Illinois' defense shows up this game and they somehow keep this team under 80. I had Illinois 92-79. Little get right game before they go into Michigan and Purdue. So kind of have to need this one. Not that those words go together, but
yeah.
97-81 says Bootzilla. Carl says Illinois by 15. The world is right again.
Until they get annihilated by Michigan.
I mean, I kind of hope that Ty Rodgers comes off the bench and gets in Peyton Sanford's face. So that's
a weird thing to say.
In his Merez t-shirt. Right. Prediction on what shirt Ty Rodgers wears tomorrow.
It'll be a Brad Underwood shirt.
I hope it says Thin Ice on it.
Hey, I'll send him one, but won't get there in time unless it's hand delivered.
It's true. All right. You want to talk about the Big Ten?
Not really.
Okay.
Big Ten is trash, and that's all you need to know.
Seems like Michigan State's got a pretty clear path to win it at this point.
Yeah, their rematch against Michigan will be in East Lansing, right? So that helps.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And Purdue's kind of thrown themselves out of contention, as has Illinois. And then a home loss for Wisconsin certainly doesn't help, losing to Oregon.
I guess Michigan State does play Maryland on Wednesday. So
Maryland's another one that's there. You know?
Maryland wins that. They'd only be one game back.
Well, we haven't really touched that much on the Michigan State hard stretch because they've been so good during it.
True.
But
what is so is Michigan State and Michigan tied right now?
I thought they're either tied.
They both have 3 losses. Somebody might be up a half game or something.
Yeah,
let me see. Let me look. All right, Michigan State's at 13-3. Michigan's at 12-3. Maryland and Wisconsin are both 2 back at 11-5. Michigan State ends the season. Maryland, Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan. So maybe they're not a lock. I might have just lied to everybody. Michigan ends with Nebraska, Rutgers, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan State.
That's a lot of games.
Yeah, they've only played 15. Illinois played 17.
So they have to play Monday, Thursday, Sunday. If Illinois can't handle them in their 3rd game in 7 days, then what are we even doing here?
Yeah, they play Monday, Thursday, Sunday. Yeah, looks right. Did you see the Must Bus bitching about the having to go play on the East Coast?
No. I don't want to talk shit about the Moss Bus.
He said it's really putting him in a hole, which I agree with him. Like it was a terrible idea to get those teams in the Big Ten. So missed most of the pod.
It's USC's fault though. USC's the one who wanted to do it.
Big over under 1.5 teams in the Sweet 16. Over. We'll go over.
Over. Maryland and Michigan State. And Michigan and Illinois and UCLA.
Yeah,
it's gonna be 5.
Way too low on the over under.
Yeah, nice try.
Weird that our regular season ends on a Friday.
That is weird. I agree.
Well, they were probably worried they were going to have to play on Tuesday in the Big Ten tournament.
That's also true.
Wait, it usually ends on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. At least they'll have time to practice between.
Who's going to go through the senior? Who's going to go through the senior night?
Probably the whole team. I'm assuming nobody comes back next year.
Hummer and KJ probably, right? Those are the 2 guys. Hummer's a senior and KJ's gone.
Yeah.
AJ Red's only a junior, by the way, so we got 1 more year. He sucks, by the way. He's awful. You know what was overshadowed is the fact that he went 1 for 4 from the free throw line. Or 0 for 4. Sorry, 0 for 4. He went 0 for 4 from the free throw line.
And halftime show has been recorded. You guys will see that tomorrow night. And I just want to put it out there, guys. Ethan's been shooting 16-foot free throws all year. So I've been giving him crap because I thought they were shorter. They are not.
Yeah, nice try, everybody. Great attempt. All right, well, we'll be live on this channel again momentarily.
Yeah, in like 10 minutes. So
we could do it in 5 minutes.
We'll do it in 5 minutes. I got to pick my games of the week or whatever. But
there you go. Countdown to March Madness coming up next. Underwood.
Thin ice.